There is a feeling that haunts many of us, usually in the quiet hours of the morning, before the alarm goes off. It is the sinking suspicion that you do not fit into the shape of the world. You look at your friends, your colleagues, or the people on the news, and they seem to slide so easily into their roles. They are productive, they are efficient, they are useful. And then you look at yourself. You feel jagged, you feel slow, you feel like a puzzle piece that was cut from the wrong picture. You try to force yourself into the mold, but it hurts. You tell yourself that you are broken. You tell yourself that if you could just straighten out your quirks, you would finally be successful. But what if this inability to fit in is not a defect? What if the very things you call your failures are actually the things that are keeping you alive? There is a story from the ancient philosopher Zhuangzi that turns our understanding of success upside down. It tells of a carpenter named Shi who was traveling to the state of Qi. On his journey, he arrived at a shrine that was built under a massive oak tree. The tree was staggering in its size. Its trunk was so wide that an ox could hide behind it. Its branches reached up into the clouds like the arms of a giant. It was so large that thousands of people could rest in its shade at once. It was a monument of nature, ancient and terrifyingly beautiful. The carpenter's apprentice stared at the tree in awe. He had never seen so much timber in one place. He imagined the houses and the ships that could be built from it. But the master carpenter did not even slow his step. He glanced at the giant tree with a look of disgust and kept walking. The apprentice ran after him, breathless. "Master," he said, "why did you not stop? I have never seen such magnificent material. We could make a fortune from this wood." The carpenter shook his head. "Do not speak of it," he said. "That tree is worthless. Look closely at it. Its wood is twisted and full of knots. If you tried to make a boat from it, the boat would sink. If you tried to make a coffin, it would rot. If you made a pillar, it would be infested with worms. It is good for nothing. That is why it has lived so long. It is a useless tree." That night, the carpenter slept in the village. In his dream, the great oak tree came to him. It spoke with a voice like the creaking of roots deep underground. "What are you comparing me to?" the tree asked. "Are you comparing me to the useful trees? Look at the pear tree, the orange tree, and the apple tree. As soon as their fruit ripens, they are stripped, their branches are broken, their dignity is torn away. They are punished for their utility. They die young because they are valuable to others." The tree continued. "I have spent a long time learning how to be useless. I was almost cut down many times, but because I am twisted, because I am gnarled, because I am difficult, I have survived. If I was straight and perfect, like you want me to be, I would have been cut down by an axe centuries ago. My uselessness to you is my greatest usefulness to myself." The carpenter woke up in a cold sweat. He realized that he had been looking at the world through the eyes of a consumer, not the eyes of a living being. We live in a culture that views human beings exactly like the carpenter viewed the forest. We are obsessed with utility. From the time we are children, we are asked, "What will you be when you grow up?" What they really mean is, "How will you be used?" We are taught to straighten ourselves out. We are told to smooth over our rough edges. We are trained to be efficient, predictable, and interchangeable. We strive to be the perfect employee or the ideal partner. We want to be the straight cedar tree, ready to be turned into planks for someone else's house. And when we fail to be useful in this specific way, we feel shame. We look at our winding career paths, our periods of inactivity, our strange hobbies, and our sensitivity, and we label them as flaws. We think, if only I were more like them, I would be happy. But the wisdom of the useless tree suggests something radical. It suggests that your inability to conform is actually your spiritual immune system protecting you. Think about the perfect trees in our modern world. Think of the people who fit perfectly into the grinding gears of the system. They are often the ones who burn out the fastest. They are the ones who are exploited the most. They are rewarded with more work. They are stripped of their fruit and then discarded when they can no longer produce. Now look at your own life. Perhaps you were passed over for a promotion because you were too opinionated. At the time, it felt like a failure. But maybe that failure saved you from a job that would have devoured your soul. Perhaps you lost a relationship because you refused to change who you were. It felt like a tragedy. But maybe your stubbornness saved you from a life of pretending to be someone else. Perhaps you have a mind that wanders, a mind that cannot focus on spreadsheets, but can spend hours dreaming up stories or walking in the woods. The world calls this a lack of focus. The tree calls it the shape of your survival. This does not mean we should be lazy or selfish. The great oak tree in the story was not lazy. It provided shade for thousands of weary travelers. It held the soil together. It gave a home to birds and spirits. It was incredibly generous. But it was generous on its own terms, not on the terms of the carpenter. It was useful to the ecosystem, but useless to the economy. And that is a distinction that can save your life. To practice the wisdom of the useless tree, you must change your relationship with the word useful. When you feel the pressure to conform, ask yourself, useful to whom? Are you trying to be useful to your own growth, your own peace, and your own loved ones? Or are you trying to be useful to a system that views you as raw material? Embrace your knots. Embrace your twists. If you are naturally introverted, do not try to force yourself into the shape of a loud networker. You will only break your own branches. If you are a slow, deep thinker, do not try to become a rapid-fire multitasking machine. You will only rot from the inside. Your weirdness is your shield. Your difficulty is your fortress. The parts of you that are hard to manage are often the parts of you that are most alive. They are the reason you are still standing, while the straight timber has been hauled away. Imagine that mist-covered forest again. See the rows of stumps where the perfect trees used to stand. They were chosen, they were favored, and they are gone. And then see the great, gnarled oak standing alone in the silence. It is ancient. It is vast. It is at peace. It has achieved the highest success possible. It has lived out its own nature to the fullest. So the next time the world looks at you and says you are not doing enough, or that you do not fit the mold, do not hang your head. Smile. Remember the carpenter and the oak. Stand tall in your own twisted glory. You are not failed timber. You are a living tree, and you are meant to last.